Thank you. I would like to continue with Mr. Dean's comments, and this also hones in on what Diana Howard had to say as well. Can you hear me? Let's separate fact from fiction, and in many cases outright lies going back to public relations propaganda headed up by our current Director of Transportation for Virginia, Aubrey Lane. That organization was light rail now, and their propaganda machine spewed out the following information in an attempt to persuade the unsuspecting public that they need to vote yes on the referendum so that the light rail project could be studied. The actual sign said, vote yes on November 6th to study light rail, paid for by Move Hampton Roads. The truth? Hardly it was the truth. The $6.6 million study had been underway and financed well before the referendum went to the voters. Norfolk's Mayor Paul Frame and Virginia Beach Mayor Will Sessoms were part of the group bent on deceiving the public. One of the largest contributors to the deception was Town Bank, Will Sessoms' employer, and the bank on which Paul Frame served on the board. The board's chairman is Bob Aston. We would like to see, with a show of hands, how many people here today arrived by public transit, because there is an awful lot of buses that come especially to TCC. One person?
I came by bike.
By bike, very good. Also, when I see so many bike paths out there, yet people are riding on the street. Why is that? Especially down London Bridge. Just asking. That just popped into my head. So we have one person out of this whole room who took public transit. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Donna Sayak. I don't think I pronounced that correctly though.
Rhymes with high.
Sai. Oh, I didn't think I was going to.
Donna Sy. Good evening. My name is Donna Sy, and I'm from Portsmouth. Principles of Liberty 10, the God-given right to govern, is vested in the sovereign authority of the whole people. Are the people in Virginia Beach sovereign? Was the light rail question put on a referendum? This is a political question. Do we need light rail? If we do, what decisions need to be made to implement it? This Virginia Beach light rail issue not only affects Virginia Beach, but it also affects all citizens of Planning District 23. Virginia Beach is seen as the big sister in our area of the Commonwealth. Whatever is done in Virginia Beach is seen as the leader in political correctness. How is this light rail connection affecting Portsmouth? For one, the Hampton Roads Transit has created an idea of go past 365. It is to promote a scenic alternative from downtown Norfolk to Old Town Portsmouth. The HRT is rolling out a transportation alternative campaign, highlighting the ways to travel outside of a single occupancy vehicle across the Elizabeth River. This promotion includes HRT's ferry service, 15-minute bus frequency on routes 47 and 45 during peak hours, and a light rail connection. HRT is inviting Old Town Portsmouth and downtown Norfolk businesses to be part of this promotion by an incentive for people for the life of the campaign, May through July. 10% off a meal, free coffee with your meal. An incentive for a specific week during July from May to July. Attract more customers to your business and receive tax credits. If you will review the history of roads in Virginia, you will notice how each transportation system affected each other and how the government has taken control over the private companies. The turnpike companies passed from private to county ownership. Congress established the United States Office of Road Inquiry, directing the Secretary of Transportation to make inquiries in regard to the system of road management throughout the United States. Byrd changed the structure of the Virginia state government through constitutional amendments to shorten the ballot and centralize power under the governorship. The General Assembly passed the Revenue Bond Act, which authorized the state to take over the ferries and the James River Bridge system. The Chesapeake Ferry Company dissolved with the state buying 9 ferry boats from them. Now we have the Virginia Beach wanting to implement the light rail system to burden the taxpayers with debt for another project for whose benefit? For the benefit of the federal government's political agenda to establish global governance by the inclusion of socialism, fascism, and government-sanctioned monopolies. In the long run, this is part of the scheme to destroy the principles of natural law
Thank
and
you, Ms. Sullivan.
individual
Your time
on which
is up.
America was founded.
Thank you,
Thanks
Ms.
for listening.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ryan Holte.
Hakey, perhaps?
Vicky, maybe that's it. Thank you.
Probably. Thank you. Excuse me, sir. Hello, everyone. As you just heard, my name is Brian Hakey. I live in Virginia Beach, just down the street on Nesbitt Drive. As a millennial, my group is so often proclaimed as a supporter of light rail. However, I'm here to speak against it. Not because I'm against mass transit. I myself used the Tide for 2 years in my daily commute to Norfolk. But I ride the Tide no longer, and the simple reason is time. I commute right down the I-264 corridor from one end of the Tide to the other. And so in many ways, I'm a prime use case of the Tide. But riding the Tide doubles my commute along that corridor. It turns 15-minute drive into a 30-minute ride, making my commute from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And I don't have that time to waste in my busy life. In response to this fact, many people bring up the argument that the traffic on 264 will get so bad that the light rail will be just as fast, if not faster. And I want to tell the council that if that ever happens, I will move from this city and you will lose a millennial. You will lose many more than that, I am sure. I am not against infrastructure. We need infrastructure. Today I read how R2 International is moving from Norfolk to Richmond specifically because of the traffic in this area and leaving this area. But you cannot solve this problem with light rail. You cannot move freight on light rail. It doesn't move cars because no one's willing to ride it. Times are tough and we need priorities. Our valuable money must be spent on infrastructure that solves our real problems. To keep business and to keep traffic low, and not squander it something so fickle as light rail. We are not so wealthy a city, and this is not so good a time that we can afford such a luxury. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kim Whitley.
Good evening. My name is Kim Whitley. I'm a Shadowlawn resident. I'm also the advocacy director for the Tidewater Bicycle Association. I'm happy to say that Dan has stole a lot of my thunder, so I can keep this mercifully short. But the experience I had down in Charlotte was a game changer for me, because I was really pretty much a skeptic of the whole system until I saw what they had to offer. We had a communication between the planners and the engineers in this area versus people who have the experience there in Charlotte. And what we've kind of taken what they've learned and try to put it in context with what we've done. The light rail system in Norfolk, as this young man has developed, has demonstrated, it has its problems. For instance, they have long, lonely trails in between stops, and it's sort of there's not much going on in between the areas. However, in Charlotte, it's like Dan said, it's a vibrant area. It really is amazing the development that's going on in there. It really does have a whole different feel for it than you might see here. A lot more attraction to it. And whether you like the development or not, this area, the way this place is going, they had $2.1 billion worth of development along that light rail in the 7 years, I think it's the 7 years that they had. So it's to see that that kind of life breathed into it, and seeing that this is an initial step in that direction would certainly provide impetus for moving forward. And of course, the costs are important, and the city of Norfolk does not exactly provide the best model for that. Sorry, Norfolk. But there certainly has a lot to learn from that, and I hope hopefully see that. But I think the bike trails and the pedestrian trails that parallel it are essential to really keep this whole thing moving in that direction. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Councilman John Moss.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Councilman John Moss, and I'm only speaking for myself and not my peers, but I want to build on a comment I mentioned last week about bus rapid transit as a substantive comment. And why it's so important to properly cost out bus rapid transit is because the city manager's recommendation actually says that before we ever went past the terminus of alternative 1A, the current DEIS would expire. He went on to say, or his representative, Mr. Hanson, deputy city manager, that going beyond the terminus, which would be Constitution and Columbus, was unaffordable, and we wouldn't take that, quote, outdated technology, unquote, to the ocean front. So if, in fact, it is not the city's intention anywhere in the near future to go past the terminus of 1A, and we're not going to go the route we do with the existing technology, it's all the more important that bus rapid transit, which in the DEIS itself moved more people, if properly costed, and not given the cost of the maintenance facility, the bigger buses, all the things you wouldn't need for a 3-file segment, it would be the most cost-effective mass transit solution that moved the most people, that was the most adaptive, most scalable, and most flexible. So I think that the DEIS has to be amended to include the proper costing of that segment using bus rapid transit with the standard buses and a feeder bus system that would provide a more economical return given the findings of the DEIS. And I look forward to that, and I hope the council will have that costing before we're asked to make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Moss. That was the last person who had signed up to speak. Is there anybody here who would like to address the public hearing that has not spoken or signed up? Okay. Please remember to speak your name and city you reside.
My name is Tim McCarthy. Thank you for having this hearing. I think in the long and the short of it, this is about vision, and it's about vision for the future. Virginia Beach had vision, when it built a pipeline from Lake Gadsden to here to provide water. It had a vision when it invested in its schools and education system and used capital improvement money to build terrific facilities and to invest in its teachers. It had vision when it made the decision to build Town Center. It had vision when it invested in the libraries that we have in their world-class libraries. It had vision when we invested in the recreation centers serving all the citizens of Virginia Beach. The people in the cities of St. Louis, Portland, Denver, Charlotte, all had vision, and they had vision for the future in improving public transportation systems in their cities. And they have reaped many benefits and have served those populations. I think we need to do the same. While we've had vision in many areas, we have not had vision in the area of public transportation. We're either second or third class in terms of public transportation, as far as the bus service that's provided, as well as the opportunity to have a rail line go down the very spine of Virginia Beach. I think this is about the future. I think it's about infrastructure. Some more than 50 years ago, the Eisenhower administration had a plan to build the interstate highway system. And it's been built mile by mile, one place at a time. And they're still making improvements. And it's improved all of our lives and the lives of our country. We need to find a way to invest in infrastructure for the future, for the city of Virginia Beach, and provide its citizens with a public transportation system that serves the entire city and serves the region and sets the platform for us to be able to make significant growth into the future. So I support the move to go to town center, and I hope that we endorse this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. All right, once again, if there's anybody here who has not spoken at the public hearing, has not filled out a card or anything like that. Also want to remind you that there are blank comment forms at the front desk. If you want to submit your written comments, we will take those as well. We are getting them through email, through U.S. mail. Like Julie said, you have till May the 5th at 5 p.m. to submit any comments. This public hearing is till 7:30, is now 7:15. So we'll be here should someone wish to come in and address the public hearing, but we are done with the speakers that are currently here signed up with. Thank you.
Petey, we gotta get that guy in the orange shirt. Get his name before he leaves.
Turn that up, please.
Gentlemen, would you all like to sit down and discuss light rail in a more intelligent setting? We can discuss the 3,000.